A lot of voters were watching this debate, but also some young people were tuning in as well, and that's what had our next guest interested. I'm joined now by Dr. Toinette Gunn from Chicago Debates, which coaches Chicago students on the art of debating. Dr. Gunn, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
I know you held a post-debate last night. Did any of the candidates improve their debating style this time versus the first debate?
Well, Tia, I got to say there was marked improvement from the first debate with last night's debate. And while there was still some interrupting and demands to continue to speak or to, let me address that, not asking permission for the additional time, it was still much better.
Dr. Gunn, one of the critiques that I know I heard last night and I've heard this morning is the word deflecting. A lot of deflecting still last night. When a candidate does that, is that a smart debate strategy?
So what I will say is when it comes to policy debate, if you cannot answer the question that is being asked, it is seen as not knowing what you're doing. It is seen as not staying on topic, and you will just lose credibility. It is not something that coaches advise students on. It's not a strategy that we would ever recommend. You just lose respect for deflecting and not answering the question.
So it sounds like it's not a strategy at all. Of course, we know that mute button. A lot of people were rooting for that. It wasn't forced this time around, so we actually got to hear from the candidates. But candidates did still, in some cases, talk over one another in terms of their time. They just went right through, even though their time was up. Does that tactic work?
Absolutely not. Time is strictly adhered to in a policy debate tournament, and so much so that students speak very rapidly to try and get all of their evidence in. And they also time themselves, and they come prepared to their debates with a timer in addition to the judge keeping them on time. And if they run over, the judge is allowing that to say, I will allow you to keep going. And if someone does that without the judge's permission, they will be disqualified if they continue to do that.
I know one of the keys to debating, I shouldn't even say one, there's actually two great things about debating. You're supposed to listen. You're also supposed to listen because you're understanding what the other person is saying. Do you feel there was a moment when one of those candidates really displayed that?
I honestly can't recall a moment where I felt that, even though I felt that it was much better and that there were some answers being given to the questions. I polled some friends and coworkers, and none of us seem to have had that moment to say, oh, wow, they really listened here. And so while I do think they answered some of the questions better, I don't necessarily say that they understood it all, because for students debating, when they do, they are coming up with a plan. They are identifying what the harms are in that plan and why they're coming up with this plan to try and solve this problem. And I think outside of a few times where we saw a plan actually laid out, we just didn't hear that. And that to me doesn't say that they were listening and understanding well.
All right, that's your take. We appreciate it, Dr. Gunn. Thank you so much for the community work that you do as well, and also joining us this afternoon.
Thank you so much.
Anthony and Sally, back to you.
Thank you, Tia.